Hello, Assalamu alaikum. So
ওয়ালাইকুম
we
আসসালাম
already
ভাই।
have passed 5 minutes. I'm sorry for delay. So, okay, cool. Um, we already have passed 2 sessions. So today is our third session, and definitely I will recap before the end of the session. And today, and yeah. We are going to complete our remaining controllers and pages like create controller, edit controller, and details controller, and so many more. So once it is finished, maybe from next sessions we'll start working our advanced searching and login, logout. I mean, once it is done, then we will work it out. We will work out on authentication and authorization, and I will show you how to make it, how to secure your application using plain Java EE security without using Spring Security. Definitely, Spring Security is the one of the best APIs to make to secure your applications. But without using Spring Security, how can actually do using plain Java EE security? So let us start. So are you able to see my screen? Hello,
Assalamu alaikum, bhaiya. Yes, bhai, we are able to see it.
and are you able to hear my voice clearly?
जी भैया।
Okay, okay, thank you, cool, cool. So before that, actually, I want to, I told you I will do some recap. So let me do that. Okay. What actually did? We just created first of all, we created an interface which is called country DO. So DO means nothing, which is called data access object. And the same method actually we copied from DO and we created our first service, which is called country service. And we created our class which is called country deo implementations. And in the country deo implementations, we just written some of our very, how can I say, very basic methods to access the database. The flow of the sequence is that when using deo, we will access our database and we will interact with the database and service will directly call to Deo. Okay. So, and controller will call the service and controller will enter, for example, if any user use slash save or details, so the first request will come to controller, then controller will talk with the service, and service will talk with the DAO, and DAO will talk with the databases. So this is the basic flow actually. And we just completed only our one controller, which is called index controller. And today actually we are going to complete another controller like create controller, details controller, and update controller. So this is not completed yet. Okay, so let me do that. First of all, I would like to go to the details controller. So in the details controller, we just displayed the details page. So details page is in the pages slash details.jsp. Can you remember it or not? So this is our details page. This is a very basic page, but we didn't do anything in the details page. So what do we need to do? We will just copy the index page later on that, and after that we will create the details page. So let me first complete the details controller code. We already have route slash details, and we did not call any DAO class here, DAO or service class here. So let me do that. So I will declare private user service. Sorry, it should be country service. Private country service, country service. And after that, we need to override init method. It should be public. And inside the init method, we need to write country service. Please don't join while I'm writing code. It makes me trouble. Okay. So we have country deo equal to new country deo implementations. We need to pass the country deo to the country service implementation. It's cool. And after that, we also have the do get method. So in the details page, we will use HTTP GET request. That's why we will write in code in our do get method. So inside the do get method, I'm interested to use try catch block, exception. Okay. So inside the try method, so first of all, what in the URL, right? So what would be the URL? So this would be URL. For example, localhost 8080, like details, and the ID will be dynamic 1, 2, or 4, or 10, or 20. So this would be the details URL. So after the slash underscore details, so this ID actually we will get from the URL. That's why I'm trying to fetch the details URL. Okay. So I will write country ID equal to integer dot percent request dot, it should be request dot get parameter. And what would be the parameter? It should be the not country ID, it should be ID. Why it's ID? Can you remember why it's ID, not country ID? So from where actually we will get the details ID? We will get the details ID from the index page. So in the index page, there is action which is called details action. So yeah, can you see that in the details action? In the details action, we are just passing the variable as ID, not country ID. So actually, yeah, definitely we can do using country ID here. For the simplicity, I just put as an ID. So anything you can put. There is no restrictions. So there is no restrictions that you need to pass only ID, not country ID, right? So yeah, here actually I can pass anything. ID. So it's just like a variable, okay? That's why actually I just put ID. You can put anything in here. Now we have the country entity, country, and we have the now we'll call country service. So inside the country service, we have a method which is called find by ID. So in the find by ID, we will pass the country ID. That's all. And after that, so we already get the value from the database, right? So after that, whatever actually we get the value from the database, so we need to put the value and we need to throw this value to the details page so that the value will be loaded in the details page. I hope you got my point. So how can you throw this value? We need to write request dot set attribute. So request to set attribute, we are passing the country object as a country as a string. Can you see that string? And once you set the value, then in the details page, we will get the value from using this country string object. So our object value will be stored inside the country. So I hope you got my point. So after that, we'll load our page details, and after that we will forward our page using request dispatcher dot forward. Now let's see the value is coming or not. So our details page is not completed yet. We need to complete our details page right now. To do that, what actually we will do? We will just copy the index page. We already have the index page. We will copy entirely from the index page. Then we will create the details page. It's a very shortcut, right? But we don't need everything from the index page. We only need the container. Inside the container, okay, there is also another container navigation. So we don't need everything from here. So we will delete these navigations for pagination because in the details page actually we don't need any pagination, right? From here to this navigations we will delete. So in the details page we need one action, okay? In the details page, for example, if we go to the details page, so from the details page maybe we also have the facility to get the edit page. So in to do that we make it edit, and we change the route as an maybe it's update, maybe update. So what is our update controller? It's update. We just change this very simple tiny things. Instead of the for each, okay, and we will display the country name. Okay. And continent, it should be continent, country name, continent. and it's not countries, it should be a country. Okay. In the TH scope, we will just, we don't need loop because in the details page, actually we don't need loop. We will just get the value because we already set the value in the details page and we will get the value in the details page. So that's why this is a table, it's a T head, TR. Okay. So our value is country.name, our value is country.continent, and also is country.country ID. But in the details page, we will also need one more row. So let me show. So Control Alt L will refactor our details page and we'll see our value is coming from the details or not. Okay. So this is our index page. So in the index page, can you see on the we have if we put my cursor, please go to the left side and you can see localhost 8080/details ID equal to 1. This one ID equal to 2, ID equal to 3. Can you see on the on my ID equal to 5? So if I
Yes, Bhaiya.
click on the details button, so actually no value is coming. Why no value is coming? So we need to do some debug. Why no value is not coming from our database? So can you please see? So we already get some exception. So what is the exception? Column country underscore name not found. Okay. So that means we're getting exception from the deo class. So this deo class is name. Okay. So there is no country underscore name. Maybe we can go to the details.jsp page. It should be name. Okay, 1 minute just. It's a country ID, name, and continent, but we get the exception as country underscore name. Okay, we have a very tiny error. Country ID, name, continent, and in the date. Oh, okay. So this is the error actually in the find by ID method. It's called we return country underscore name in here. You can do restart the server. Oh, okay. Now if I click on the details, now we can see that we just get the value from our details. The country name United States, continent North America, and action is edit. So why actually I given the in the details page, why actually I given the edit action? So because for example, one because you already selected value, you go to the details page. In the details page, because I don't want to go back in the index page, and in the index page, definitely I can do some edit. Okay, definitely in the index page, I will make some functionality like details, edit, and delete. But if I go to the details page, so in the details page, if I also make the same thing like edit actions, so it will make sense why. Um, it's just for flexibility. Okay. So if I click on the edit, it will not work because we did not start working yet in our edit page. So we can see that we are getting value from the details page. Now I will stop the server, and now we will start working on our create page first. Then we will start working on our edit page. So I hope you understand it's very easy. So once actually you work on that, so before going to the create page, let me show you something. Otherwise, maybe you will confused. So we can go our index.jsp page first. In the index.jsp, can you see that um, we are just passing the value from here in our action. Okay, in the details action, we are passing the variable ID. So what will be happen if we pass the variable, it's not ID, like country ID, okay? And if we pass the variable ID as a country ID, then we need to go to the details controller. It should be country ID. I hope you got my point. Then if we try to run our project, let me show you something. Okay, so if I click on the details action, uh, can you please see in the top left, at the topmost left side, it's showing localhost colon 8080 details question mark, then country under country ID equal to 1. Can you see on my topmost left page? So if I click on details, can you see details country ID equal to 1? So I think it's better to use the proper naming convention. Instead of ID, we can use country ID, right? So I think it's a proper naming convention. Now we can go to our create page. So let me complete our create controller. In the create controller, I will declare variable. You already know that it is called private um, country service, country service. So after that, I need to declare the init override. It's a public void init. In the init, when I need to declare first country deo, country deo, and you already know that we need to pass the country deo object to the country service, right? So we don't need any SQL exception in our init method. So same, it will be the same. We don't need any SQL exception in our init. So after that, I would like to do some refactoring in my controller. So let's start writing code. So there will be some interesting thing in our create controller. You can see the action is save. So in the save action, we need to do two HTTP method. So using one HTTP method, which is called doGet, our create page will be initialized, and using post method, we will submit our form. Okay. So okay, please don't go. I will show you step by step. So using the doGet method, I believe it's better practice to use override. So in every page, actually, we need to write override annotation. Okay, so I will do it for other controller also. In the doGet method, we are just initializing our create page. So which is called create.jsp page. And in the post method, we will submit our create.jsp page, which is called a form. It's a form. And let me write override. Okay, so in the post method, we will submit our form. So, okay, so before writing code our into post method, let me create our create.jsp page. So in the create.jsp page, I will do the same thing. I will just copy our details page, or maybe you can copy from index page. So can you see that our navigation bar is common for all pages? You can copy all of these things from details page, and the create.jsp you can just paste. Okay. What actually you don't need in the create.jsp page? So you don't need any action bar, you don't need any table, right? So instead of the table, I will just delete all of these things. We actually don't need anything. So this is our empty create.jsp. So we will write our form step by step right now. So actually, I'm interested to write call a CSS class, which is called deep class. Sorry, deep class row. So in the deep class row, I will just write a very simple form. Okay. After that, actually, I will show you. It's a normal, very simple HTML form. Okay. So inside the form, actually, I'm interested to call some bootstrap. So instead of bootstrap, right, in the form there will be two HTTP. One is called form action and form method. Okay. So in the form action, our action would be what would be our action? So our first of all, okay, so our action will be populated as a dynamically, but later on there I will do it. So before that, I need to complete our save functionality. So in the action, I will call the path. In the path, I will write as save. Okay. So why is the path? The path is nothing, and it should be it's not a home title, I believe. It should be the create save. The title will be the save. Okay. So later on that, we'll make it as a dynamic. So initially, our form action is save, and the action method is post. Okay. So in the form action method is post, then I will write something here. So I will write as a deep class MB3, maybe. In the deep class MB3, I want to make it as a label. So label 4. So what is for label? Label 4 is the ID, okay? And the class would be form label, okay? So why it's making a complaint, I will show you why it's making as a complaint. And here actually I would like to put my label as country name, okay? And after that, I will write as an input and input type as a text. It should be the input type text, and the class would be the form control. Sorry. And the ID. It's better to have the ID in the input. Why? Because right now we are not doing any client-side validations. So if you do the client-side validations while submitting the form, so you must have ID. Okay. So if you don't have ID, definitely you can do another way, but it's better to have the ID. So my ID is the name. Can you see the name? This ID actually I declared in the label. And in our input form, there should be some name. The name should be the name. Why? This name is the country name, okay? And this name is coming from the HTML. Please don't be confused about that. This name is from HTML and this name is for country name. Okay. And after that, I would like to add any placeholder. So what will be our placeholder? Like placeholder is just nothing. You can put anything here. Country. Enter the country name. So our one class is completed. I will just copy this one. I will make another div, and this should be the continent. Okay, this label should be the continent. So I'll just make a copy in here, continent, and this name would be the continent name. Okay, it should be it should be continent name, and the label for which is called continent name. And after that, in the form, we should have a submit button. So this is before the end of the form, we should have a submit button. And it should be the button type. Button type should be button. Sorry, it should be button type submit. Button type submit. And here actually I'd like to add I'd like to call any bootstrap classes. So it's a very common like class btn, sorry, btn primary. And okay, and here actually you can write in anything in here. Please don't join once the session is started. It stops me, and it makes me the problem while writing code, and it stops my concentration. So you can write as a safe country or submit, or you can write anything in here. So I can write submit. You can write anything. It's just a simple plain text. So I would like to go our restart server, because we already, can you see, we did not write any code in the post method, right? We didn't write anything in the post method. So before writing post method, so I would like to show you something, how to create the create page. Okay, right now, if I click the create, can you see our form is initialized? Okay, our form is initialized, but we did not have any, we did not created any post. This form is initialized using because of do get, not do post. So if I stop my server, if I do a debug point in here, and if I try to debug, then you will understand properly. Okay, so if I click on the create page, can you see? So now our action is saved. Now it's come to our this page. Then I will do forward our debugging, one step forward. Then it's going to load the create page. If I go one more forward, request and response. Now our page is loading. Okay, but it cannot do anything right now. So if I put some other name in here, okay, and after that if I try to submit, it will not work. Why? Because in the form, okay, it's calling again because we put the debug point here. We need to, okay. So if I go in the view page source, can you see our form? Our form action is under slash save, and the method is the post. So in our country controller, we already written only do get method. Using do get method, we are just loading the page. but we need to write the do post method. So do post method will be responsible for HTTP post request. You already know there are some HTTP requests like do get, do post, do put, and do delete, do options. There are some HTTP requests provided from the Java actually. It's called Java E, not Java. So to do that, actually, I'm interested to write the do post method. Before on that, I will write a try block, and after that, I will write the catch, exception. Instead of the writing always exception print stack trace, I told you I will write some other else. I will write an SL4J. So in the SL4J, can you see SL4J is coming from a Lombok because we are using the Lombok. So instead of doing right that, I will write log dot, it should be log dot error message, log dot info. Why it's not coming? Okay, I'll fix on that. I'll fix on later. Log dot, it should be coming from the info. Okay, I'll fix on later. So this is not our main focus. So I will write country. So you can ask me, I already declare a annotation which is called builder. Okay, so if I don't use the builder, so if I write the code manually, so what will happen? If I don't use the builder, I can write country, then I can country dot set name. Okay, it should be request dot get parameter country name and country dot, okay, country dot set continent. Okay, it should be request dot get continent. And after that, we will pass our country object to the country service. So how to write country service dot in the save method, we will pass our country. So actually, yeah. So this is I cannot say that it's a so if I write in this fashion, it will not make any problem. But actually, you know that this code is not looking so good, right? It looks ugly. Why? Because for example, you are writing this way, but in the country object, you don't have the full control. For example, in there will be some situation you don't need to set for if I okay if I go, we only have the three properties in the country class. Just let me assume that there is a 50 properties in any Java entity class. So you will need to create, you will need to set the value only 10 or 20 properties. Okay. Every time what you will do, every time you will do some set get. No. So instead of writing this way, you can use the builder, which is called country builder. You can builder is a very comprehensive way, country dot builder dot build. It's a very comprehensive way to set the property actually. You can write dot name dot continent. Okay. And after that, you will pass the country object. Country service dot save country. Okay. Now it's done. Then let me complete the update controller also. So if I go to the update controller, we don't have the init method. First of all, we need to declare the value. We need to declare the country service. It should be private country service, country service. And after that, after the constructor, I need to write override. It should be init. So we don't need the SQL servlet exception in the init method. So I will write country service First of all, you already know that I become tired. So I can copy this init method because we are using this in every pages, in every controller. Okay. The same thing. So in our update method, in our update controller, what we need? We also need the do get method and we also need a do post method. But there is a beauty, you can see that. So for the update, if we want to do update, we're writing update or JSP, but actually I don't want to make another JSP file. So I want to use only one JSP file to do create and for updating. Okay, just forget right now. We can complete our update page, update controller code. Then after that, I will explain step by step. So we already have the do get method. In the do get method, actually, we need to do some extra things. So to do that, I will write a try catch block, exception, exception. So in the try, I will write a country ID. We already declared as a country ID, right? So in the country ID, after that, country, go to country service, find by. Why actually we need to find by ID? Because for editing, we need to find the object based on the request. That's why we need to, we are calling the find by ID. And after that, we need to do something request dot set attribute country and country. And I'd like to set another special object, which is called request dot set attribute. So in the request dot set attribute, I want to use a simple trick, which is called, I want to pass a Boolean value is update. Why actually I'm passing? Please don't be confused about that. I will explain later on that. So it should be a true. Why I'm passing the true? Because we are going to use one JSP file for save and update. Okay. So if our try case block is done, then we need to do for request dot set attribute. We already set the attribute as update for update page, and we already did something. So now let me complete our do post for update controller. All right. So so public do post. In the do post, I need a try catch block. So in the try catch, exception, it should be right. So we don't need this one. Okay. Country, no new operator. Actually, I don't like new operator. Country dot builder dot build. So in the builder dot build, what actually we need? We'll pass the country ID request dot get parameter. What actually get the value as a request dot get parameter. Okay. Why you are need to pass to ID? Otherwise, you cannot identify that country object because in which object you are going to update. That's why you need the ID also. So I need the name. I also need continent. And after that, I will build the object. Then I will call the country service dot update country. That's all. So we already finished our whole our update controller also. So now let me do some demonstrate our create controller. To do that, I always like debugging while development. So it's the good practice to use the debugging. It's make a complaint. Oh, SLBot does not exist. Okay, no problem, no issue. Okay, so if I click on the create page to do that, actually, in the we already I would like to put my debug pointer in our not every page in do post method in country controller. Okay. So, okay, if I put something AAA, if I put something continent name like AA, anything you can just put for the testing purpose, okay? So if I click on the submit button, can you see? Now the value now is do post method is calling. It's not calling do get. It's calling the do post. So if I click on the country, okay? Can you see if there is a two way to get the value? If to see the value, you can see the ID is zero. Yeah, definitely initially the ID would be zero. We are not considering it because we are going to create a new country. So we are successfully get the value name a continent. And also, if you put this, if you scroll up in here in the country, so you can also see from here also, right? You request and country object. Can you see? There is a two way to see the debugging value in the IntelliJ IDE. And after that, if I release my debug, so there is nothing, right? Because we are not after submitting the form, we are not redirecting. Okay. So after once the form is once the do post method is done, you don't need to worry because the form is already have been submitted. So once the form is submitted, you need to do redirect your current URL. So how to do that? So here actually save is done, and after the catch, you need to write as response dot set se send redirect. Okay, response dot send redirect. In the send redirect, you need to redirect to the list page. Okay, so I can restart my server again. Okay, and to before that, actually, I need to see the value is value is submitted or not. We can go the create page. We can put anything in here. ABC, ABC. Let me show the we are calling the save. Our value has not been saved yet. Why? We can call the save method in the save method. Oh, okay. So insert into SQL, it should be the not country name, it should be the name. That's why value is not inserting here. Okay, country.get name. This is the reason value has not been yet inserted in our database. So it will be the same. We need to do some tests before that. ABC, North America. We can submit. We can release the button, and we can see the server log. And if I go to the last, yeah, value has been submitted because actually we did some mistake in here in the DAO. So if I go to the country DAO, we need to do update. So in the update also, we need to pass the name, not the country name. And is there any typo in here? I believe there is no typo. Okay. So we already completed our create page. Now actually we need to write our logic in our update controller in update.jsp page. As I told you earlier, we don't need to create two pages for create and update. So if I click on the create page ABC1 for say it's not America, submit. If you go to the last year, its value already has been inserted. So there you can see that there is a no action for edit here in the index page. So we can do that. So I can go to the index.jsp page. Here actually I can make another which is called update. Okay. So in the update I can write as an edit or update, anything. And we also have one controller remaining, which is called delete controller, right? So I can make a copy from here. I can pass as a delete. It should be delete. So the URL value is delete, but this URL is not exist. You can see IntelliJ is complaining. So I can go to there is no delete controller actually. So I can copy the details controller and I can paste. So I can make another controller which is called delete controller. And in the delete control, it should be delete. Okay. And in the delete controller is very, very easy. We don't need to do anything here. I just need to get the country ID, country. And once we get the ID, and we don't need to set any request, and also nothing. We don't need to load any page in the delete, right? So our responsibility to get the value, and we don't need to do anything in here. It should be country service dot delete. So once you delete, then you need to do response dot send redirect. Response dot send redirect. And it should be list in your list page. Okay. So our delete controller is also completed. So if I debug on the delete controller, okay, you can see. So if I click on the delete, let me see the value is being going to delete or not. We have the two value ABC and ABC1. If I click on the delete, if I go to the page 6, yeah, it's deleted, right? If I going to delete, if I go to the page 6, yeah, our delete controller is also working. Now we only have the update. If I click on the update, so there is nothing in the update page or update form. We need to complete on that. So we almost completed our CRUD functionality except the update. So I can go to the update. So I already written most of our code in the update controller. So what actually I need to do some small tiny modification of the create page. In the update controller, I will not load update JSP. I will load create JSP. Okay, create JSP page, because as I told you earlier, we will use only one JSP page for update and update and update and create. Okay, I will refactor this later. And we can go to the create.jsp. In the create.jsp, we need to do a simple tiny modifications in here. So in the form, can you see in the form, we need to write a very tiny logic so that our create page means this create page will work both cases like create and update. And to do that, actually, you can see in the path, we are passing this value as a very hard-coded. Instead of passing this value as a hard-coded, so what actually I can do? I can write as a dollar sign, okay? This one is update. Why? Because you can see is update, we are passing this value from the update controller. So if this is update, sorry, I'm going to write a ternary operator, then it should be update. Okay? Otherwise, it should be a save method. Very simple, right? You can see. So what actually it is doing, this form action, if is update, okay, is update is true, then it will call the update route. Otherwise, it will call the save route. Because you can see in the save controller, there is no variable is update. That means its value will be false for while saving the form. But while updating the form, this value will be true because we already set this value as a true. You can see in the get is update is true. You can see in the update controller, we're setting this is update as true. But in our create controller, we did not set this any variable here, right? You can see any variable is update. No, there is no variable. That's why we can close all of the pages right now. Okay. Okay. Now we already passed these things. So same thing actually we'll write for the title because we already have the title. So we can go in the title where we are passing this save as a hard coded. Instead of doing the hard coded, we can write is update. If this is update in update mode, then it will be edit page, edit country. Otherwise, it should be a create country. Okay. Now our title will also become dynamic. And for updating the form, you need to do several things because and for the updating, we need to also pass the ID, but there is no ID in here, right? What actually we can do? We can write, because while saving the form, there will be no ID. So we'll get the exception. To do that, we'll write C if. Inside the C if block, test, if there is an update, if it is an update mode, and after that I'll write input type hidden. Okay, it should be hidden, and the name should be The name should be country ID, right? The name should be country ID and the value. So what should be the value? Country dot country ID. Okay, this should be the value. And also we need to do some small modification. You can see we need to put a value here. Otherwise, it will not work in both cases for create and update. So I will write as a value. So in the value, we need to also write a ternary operator. If it is in update mode, is update. If it is in update mode, then the value will be set. If it is in update mode, then it should be country dot name. Otherwise, it should be an empty. Okay, otherwise it should be empty. You can see. So I will copy the value. Okay, and I will paste it everywhere. Okay, and it should be country dot continent. Country dot continent. Okay, and I will do some refactor in here. Let's see, is it working or not? Maybe you asked me the question when we can name the form for update and create is country form.jsp. You can actually put anything in here, okay? You can put anything, no problem. But you need to, the your logic should be this correct, okay? You can put anything in name. So if I click on update, you can see the value is coming from here. Okay, for example, for the Mexico, if I click on the update, our value is coming, and we are actually calling the same form for create and update. So if I write as in Mexico, we just write, we can do some any modification, okay? And it's a North America, continent is North America. We can do anything, okay? For example, it's just a testing purpose. Or if I submit, oh, it's not redirecting, right? We also need to do redirection for update. In the do post, we need to write as redirect. Response dot send redirect. Now it's done. Why it's making complaint? It should not making any complaint, right? Do post. Oh, oh. Response dot send redirect. Why it's making complaint?
Exception class is removed there in the function definition.
Okay, no problem. So this is the do post. I can write response dot send redirect. Oh,
But thrown exception is removed.
what is
There
the
should
issue in
be a
here? We have
IO
to put a
exception.
servlet context. We don't need to throw any servlet context. It should be through, sorry. Oh, we need to throw an exception. Sorry, 1 minute. Okay, now it should be okay. Now I will do some refactor. Okay, so I will write again. Okay, so okay, so if I click on the update, um, for the Mexico value is already updated, but we did not, our send detection was not working on that time. I can put anything in here. I can put anything in here. Let me see before doing that. If I submit it, it's working. So if I create a new page which is called Bangladesh, I can write as in South Asia. Continent name is Asia, but we are located in the South Asian continent. But we can you can put also write Asia. And if I submit, if I go to the last, you can see our countries has been saving. So if we try to update, so maybe I can make it as a capital letter, Bangladesh, and Asia you can put it in capital. Actually, for test, it's for testing purpose. If I submit again for update, let's see it's working or not. If I go to the last page, yeah, it's working. So if I delete, if I go to the sixth page, it's also working. So let me create again. I can write as in Bangladesh, and continent is Asia. If I submit, if I go to the last page, and if I want to see the details, yeah, yeah. And from the details, if I click on the action for uh, here, it will not work. Why? Because we need to pass country ID, not ID. You can see it should be the country ID, but we are passing in here as in just the ID. It's a simple typo. So I need to correct the typo. I can go to the details page. If I go to the details page, I need to just pass the country ID instead of the ID. Okay. Now it should work. Redeploy. It's a very simple typo. I can do restart. Okay. So if I go to the last page, if I click on Bangladesh details, we are in details mode. From the details, if I click on the edit, our value is coming in here. If I click on submit, it's going to update. That means our basic CRUD functionality has already been completed. Okay. And also we are able to do some pagination. We can also do pagination here. That means we already completed our CRUD, like create, update, details, and pagination. In our next session, I'm going to enable this search functionalities. So what actually we are going to implement the search. In the search actually, maybe we should get the we should get any specific country name, okay? And if we get any country name, like for example, if I write in a P, okay? So how many countries the letter will start with P or A, okay? And based on that, based on the searching, we will also do pagination. Try to understand. Here actually we are doing a simple pagin we are doing a pagination. Okay, we are not doing any searching in here. And once actually we enable the search functionalities, if we do some searching, and based on the searching, if we get the data, and based on this data, we'll also do pagination. I hope you got my point. So I told you, so before once we completed our third session, I will do recap for our first and second session. And to do that, actually, let me go. What it actually did in the first and second session, we just initialize our project. So I hope you already know the very basic maintenance project structure, which is called source main Java, and it should be web app. And inside the Java, I just created some package which is called constant, controller, deo, entity, service, and utils. Why utils? Because we need a database configurations in the utils. In the service, I created one interface which is called country service and one class which is called country service implementations. Okay, it's a very simple class. And in the entity, I just created one entity which is called country. Okay, and in the deo, I just created very simple interface for deo and its implementation in the country deo implementations. This country deo implement the country deo. And inside the country deo implementations, this method is used for find all values of country, and also we are also doing pagination using the find all method. And the save method, we are actually saving the country name and continent name. That means that we are saving the whole country object using the save method. It's a very simple SQL query. An update method, we are just updating the country object. It's also very simple. And delete, we're writing a very simple SQL query. Delete from country where country ID equal to 1. And after that, we are doing execute update. And find by ID, we are just using use this method to find a specific country based on the country ID. And the count method, we are actually using this count method for during the pagination. Okay, we're just, it's a very simple count. So this is all. And after that, we retain some controller. Create controller. Actually, I already shown you how to write the what actually we retain in the create controller. In the delete controller, we are just deleting some values. We can delete any country object using the delete controller. Okay. And the details controller, you already know that what actually we are doing in the using the details controller. I am doing some simple refactor. And the index controller, you are pretty much well known about the index controller. We are calling any route slash home or index, and based on that, we are getting the list of country name, and we are also able to do pagination using the index controller, right? It's very simple. And the update controller, well, you already know about that. So in the update controller, we are using do-get method. Okay, we are getting the country object, and we are setting the country object to the create.jsp page. And after that, we are we are changing the country value, any value you are changing in the country form, and you are submitting your form. Once you submit the form, we are getting the value using the name parameter. You can see this is the name, this is continent. How it's coming, can you understand? If I go to the JSP page, create, this is what working in here. You can see that this name parameter, this name is continent. This is actually working. And how the value is working? Value is working while you are updating the form. Okay, you are setting the value. So this all done, I believe. So if I, and what is actually remaining in the resources. Actually, we put our CSS and JS file. Okay, now you can ask me, we put our CSS and JSS file in the resources folder, but how actually it is being loaded, right? Okay, this is very simple. In the web INF, web XML file, we are just creating a route, which is called a default route. Okay, in the default route, and the URL pattern is resources, anything under the resources. Okay, that's why we make it a star. Anything under the resources, it should be loaded, and we given the servlet mapping as a default name. So this servlet has been used to load your resources. So what is your resources? Like CSS file, JS file, and other files. And if I go to the index page, okay, you can see. So ref path. This path is resources. You can see it's a resources. What is the path? Path is the context path. Resources, under the resources, anything will be loaded. That's why two things you need to do. Otherwise, you will get exception. One thing, in the web.xml, you need to declare this servlet mapping. This is the default servlet mapping. Otherwise, it will not work. And in if you want to reload anything, it should be under the resources. Okay, if you change its name, it will not work. This is how actually we are loading our CSS and JS file. It's very, very important. Otherwise, you will get some error. So I believe our CRUD functionality with pagination is already done. Now, actually, I'm going to push our code into the Git. So actually, how to push our code into the Git? Let me show you something. So I will write Git status and what actually we changed. And before that, we need to delete the target folder. We don't need actually. So I'll write Git status. I'm not sure why actually you are joining right now. So we'll write git add all. Okay. And write git commit. And in the commit message, I'm going to just write commit message. Uh, CRUD done with pagination. Okay. And git, let me, oh, we're in master branch. Okay, no problem. Git branch A, no problem. So git push. Okay. So we already pushed our code in our master branch. So let me show you something. If I go to the GitHub and if I write in Java E Cloud, if I click on that, let me show. So yeah, our code has been updated, I believe. We have only one branch, okay? And if I click on the commit message, so CRUD done with pagination. And if I go to the source code, let me see it's working or it's updated or not. You need to sure about that. So if I go to controller, if I go to the delete, yeah, our code has been updated also in our GitHub repository. So if you have any questions, you can actually ask me any questions. As I told you earlier, actually I will do a one virtual session at the end of the every month. Like we already have three sessions. So once actually we completed our fourth session, that means every 4 or 5 sessions once we completed, and actually I will take one virtual session with everybody that anybody can ask me the questions if you have any confusion regarding of that. So what is the purpose of the virtual sessions? So once you completed our 4, 5, or 6 sessions, maybe they have some questions on your mind actually, how actually we're how it's doing and how actually we're writing our code and how it's actually working. Maybe there are thousands of questions on your mind, and it's very difficult to answer your questions in our WhatsApp group every time because if, for example, if everybody trying to ask me questions, and it's very difficult for me to reply you all. I hope you understand. So that's why actually I initiated every at the end of every 4 or 5 sessions, I will just organize one virtual session with everybody. Maybe it's not using Zoom also, so anybody can participate. And if anybody participate after 5 minutes, because it's I will not accept anybody's request from the Zoom because it's very important. Maybe um, we will do some fruitful discussion during this virtual session, right? So if there's no questions actually, okay, we are going to finish our third session, and we'll arrange our another session maybe next Saturday. And till of that, okay, see you, tata, bye bye, happy coding.
Thanks for your effort, Bhai. Thank you.